that stuff.
Tim Judge. Thank you, Tim. I appreciate it. Yeah, no, I mean, just not. We're everything's going very well, which is
Good.
they don't like the truth out there that much, and they're leaving us alone and have really they don't like us to get seen out there on social media. They kind of try and make it so we're not very visible, but everything we do is legal. So, no, it's kind of like as they're making problems out there in the economy, it's nice to have all this, known so you can secure all your assets, your revenue stream, whatever you have going on. We have the answer to that. I've been doing this since the last crash. So, uh, it seems like they're kind of up to their same old thing. Uh, but we could get into a few other topics, in that vein. But I agree with you. I've never seen another place where there's like, oh, we have this financial information that's very valuable. We want to, you know, give you this information today. You need it today, but they don't back it up with support for like unlimited years, like we do, because our stuff works for everyone. And so, it's actually I'm not steering clear of helping people. I try and have everything in the classes, in the class, or in the actual classes. But if it's not covered for your situation, whatever it is, hey, I had this question. You go into the classroom. That's where I'm the moderator in there. So is Tammy, and we're just there to help answer your questions. And it's really a great tool because you can put up photos and links and this is what happened, here's a letter I got here, just
Hmm.
everything is in there. And then like you had a question and you use a search engine in there, like, has someone asked this before? You like look up, then you read all the other posts about whatever topic was on your mind, and that usually clears it up. But sometimes it's just like, hey, what about this, and even if it's something I answered, it's okay. We're happy to do it again. No problem.
Yeah.
This stuff's really, I've been doing it so long that it's I just have the answer because I've just been doing it for so long. So it's great to be able to give it directly to people in the real time. They're working on something today. You know what I'm saying? I'm in the classroom online, our own private forum with the school. It's not on Facebook or nothing like that. And so you go in there, hey, what about this? And I can keep people moving. That's what I do, and keep them successful. So yeah, I think that's a great topic for tonight's show.
Yeah. I thought it was just plainly obvious. I know we mention it from time to time, but yeah, we'll do it again. Alex is in the house. Says greatest game show ever. Good stuff there. Jay is here. I'm here. Get used to it. Hi, Tim and John. Best show on the internet. Thank you for doing this. Everyone listen to John. He has the truth. Yes.
Oh, thank you.
Jamie in the house.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, that was the name of the show. And then before I bring up my question of the night, um, I was trying to think of the verbiage we could use um, for our friends that want to see it approved by a lawyer, and that because we had a guest on a couple weeks ago who did it approved by a lawyer, and I think we touched on it, but it has been accepted by many Fortune 500 legal teams. I was wondering if that could be the saying, because every time you bring it to the bank and they, whether it's Chase or HSBC or wherever anybody's opened an account, and they're all over the place, Charles Schwab, these are big time firms, and you submit your trust to them, and their legal team looks it over and accepts it for use.
Then they're like, go ahead.
Yeah.
So, and that's the point with lawyers. I mean, yeah, you're going to get the lawyer's opinion to be able to work with whomever you're trying to
Right.
interact with. But you're also, we've got approvals really at every level of everything, not just, banks. You got credit unions, you got, like you said, Schwab, where
Sure.
can I put my investment vehicles and trade and all that stuff? All the Bitcoin places. It's actually,
Yeah.
there's nowhere where it's not, Like, okay. Sometimes a particular place will be like, "Oh, we don't wanna work with that type of trust," once in a while. But they never say, "Hey, that trust is not good." That's never happened, actually.
Right.
Uh, and then it's, the counties, and states, the Secretary of States, it's really all levels of the government have accepted this trust. So it's really good to know that,
Yeah.
it's fine if your local lawyer hasn't approved it for you, but does
If
that even
it's
really
good
matter?
enough for all those people, it's good enough for your mother's brother's cousin's dentist's friend.
Yeah, and that's kind of why the point I go live once a week.
Yeah.
Like, okay, yes, another year, another 5 years, another 10 years has passed, and everything is
Yeah.
just fine. Still here. Everything's fine. That's the main object. Everybody's, yeah, but what about? I'm like, I'm just still here. There's no problem. What is everything's fine.
And I'm on year 3 myself, so there we go. And still kicking around. Crypto Ken in the house. Thanks, John and Tim. Quick question. Do I need an EIN for a second trust, the Jesus Christ Trust?
Yes, you do. Yeah, yeah. I get an EIN that way. Let's say, oh, I'm just using it for real estate. Yeah, but what if you were to sell a place and get paid out? Or where's that money going to go? You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, you need an EIN to conduct any financial transactions, really. So, yeah, you need an EIN. Main reason to get that type of trust would be to put real estate in it to work on the real estate tax exemption, which, you could qualify for. And so, yeah, you're gonna need an EIN. Good question. What's at the center, the South Pole or the North Pole? Right? It's just words. Something's at the center. Anyway, a giant black rock. That's what I think. CryptoCAD, Black Rock.
Yes, he's got
Nice
the
map.
flat Earth map there going.
The dome and everything.
Um,
Yeah,
yeah, just for property, he says. Makes sense. There it is.
yeah, because it's going to be a big transaction there. You're going to want to be able to make that transaction. So yes, you get it. Okay.
Ken G saying hello. Thank you for all you do. My question is, what makes the trust tax exempt? The EIN from the IRS or the type of trust?
The type of trust is what makes it fit the rules, at the IRS. The type of trust. So there are a bunch of identifiers of this type of trust. One would be it's irrevocable, And so it's like, oh, when you go to the IRS, so you're clicking in, oh, what are my choices? Irrevocable or irrevocable? Click irrevocable. You know what I mean? So it's fitting the questions and the check marks in there to meet the guidelines for the IRS to make it acceptable under the code. So but to get into the technicals of it and really answer your question, this trust has 501c3 status. As a special type of 501c3 status with 6033 non-reporting status, and it gets that through the 508c1a uh, code, the IRS code, which is Chapter 26. The US code, the Chapter 26 is what we call the IRS code. So anyway, in there, 508c1a, I'll just pull it up and I'll just read it. And it's the same verbiage in 6033 word for word, actually. It talks about reporting, but in this it said mandatory exemptions. Churches, right? 508c1a. A starts churches, comma. They're integrated auxiliaries, comma, and conventions or association of churches. So we got churches, conventions, or churches. Church, convention, churches. So a convention is this trust is private. So a private means you create it yourself. That's in relation as an identifier. In other words, you didn't use someone with a public license like CPA, bar card lawyer like that. You didn't use them. You didn't pay them. Hey, open me a trust, because their license doesn't allow for this type of trust. Uh, So those are some of the identifiers are revocable, but it's the one that's ecclesiastical. Okay, because this is ecclesiastical trust, meaning you sign with Jesus Christ as your sole authority. So this is a Christian loophole. This trust is a Christian loophole. That's what it is. And so it fits under the identifier in the code called convention. You see, because you can sell your soul to the devil, right? And the devil's just like, sign right here, and that's where the birth certificate is and stuff like that. So it's, you can sign with Jesus Christ. They do it, right? The God we trust is with the devil. So they're allowed to do it, proving it's allowable to do it the way I've done it. And after I'm the first one that did it, I used that particular code of convention, I copyrighted it. So because I got my offer and I turned it down, and so I'm the one that can help people. I created the trust and so on. So let's see your follow-up question now that I've answered that.
And he says, once we have the trust, do we give any entity to show proof of tax exemption? What do we give anybody who wants to show proof of tax exemption?
I suggest you look at the course in real estate tax exemption. Ken G, go look. You're already a student, I think. As to what to give them, I go through that pretty clearly in that, because you're going to give something to those authorities to get approved for real estate tax exemption at the county level. So it's like, here's what you give them. And you got to think churches fall under the same code, and so they get approved. And so your convention means, oh, hey, I can sign with God. I don't need any religion or anything like that. I can have the authority to make that happen on my own. So you do that. So and in Acts 5 of the Bible, we have to give everything to God, or else we don't get eternal life. We die on the spot. And so that's what happened in that. So in order to do this, you give everything to God. I'm just trusting now. Everything's with Jesus Christ. That's the only authority over this, me, everything. And so that's the trust itself is why it works. And then you got to give them the supporting documentation, like SBA information we have, and the code itself, and other information. Uh, it depends on the situation, but actually, almost no one asks for it ever.
Mhm.
Basically, real estate tax exemption is like maybe the only time ever that you're going to be asked to present any information at all on it. It just never comes up, because this is like a fly under the radar thing that the super wealthy do. So they don't want any paperwork. It's really clever when you think about it. Like, oh, hey, you can be with a convention, and it's like, when a president's like, hey, can we see your taxes? And the president's like, no, my accountant says we can't show them to you. And it's like, there's no follow up question. Like, well, why not? And it's like, well, because we don't have anything that we fill out. uh, they have an invisible method, and so I'm an auditor, accountant with a master's in accounting and an MBA and stuff. So I was like, how are they doing this? It's like clever, invisible. There's no documents, and so this is how they're doing it under a different trust. But I was like, okay, you could do it, we could do it. So anyway, it's really because whether they're taxes or not are between your trust and the IRS. The IRS gives its status, so they're not expecting anything. There's never been a hiccup or the IRS asking for anything or anything like that ever from anyone. So it would all start from getting the EIN and with the IRS and stuff like that, and that's who says it's golden, no problem. So everyone else is like, hey, taxes are you. So it's really, you don't get asked for that, honestly, uh, is pretty much most people's experience. But in the case that it does, go look at that video in the classroom. I recommend it. Okay. Good question, Ken. Thank you for that.
So Ken's back. So I need a bank account too for the second trust for the money if I sell the property, for example.
Yes. Yes, that's what I was talking about. Crypto. Okay. Yes, exactly. Exactly. So it's going to be owned in the name of that trust. You're going to, have some transaction. And so a bank account where you can put funds or take funds out of, and so on like that. Yes. If that's what you're going to do. Yes, that's correct. Mainly on the back end, funds could come from anywhere, but mainly, oh, if I'm going to sell it at some point, where would the funds go to? You see what I'm saying? So for that reason, on the back end, yeah, exactly.
I will put an invite link into the chat right now. If anybody wants to come on, we got a dozen people here. So, um, anybody wants to come on, you hit that link that's in the chat, and you can join us on stage, as they say. And we can have some fun with any questions or anything like that. There it is. That's the link for StreamYard, and you'll be on. And if you don't want to show your face and you just want to come on and ask your question and have a chat with us, that's capable, available as well. What I saw this week and what I was talking to someone about was a non-grantor trust. So it's a level to separate yourself from the trust. You can be the trustee, but you don't start it. So I believe ours is, just to explain to what I've seen is if I make my first name last name trust as the grantor, I make myself the trustee, and there's no beneficiaries right now, or they're my children down the line, but it's irrevocable. But having it a non-grantor trust, does that add another layer of protection for someone that might try and come after you because they'll say, "Oh, well, you started it and now you're running it." If you started it and named me trustee, then I can say I didn't start it. John started it, and that I'm just trustee. Is
No,
there any value in that, or
no, the
or
opposite. Because they're presenting that out there as a problem. You know
okay,
what I'm saying? So no, you absolutely want to be grantor and trustee. Let's go over the irrevocable versus revocable, because I brought that up and
right,
people are like, wait a second, don't skip over that. I don't even know what that means, but that's really simple.
right,
Uh, Revocable means you can revoke the assets, say money or a house or car, anything in the name of a trust. You can revoke it back to where it was previously. Say you took it out of your person's name or an LLC, what have you. And so the IRS sees a revocable trust as a tax scam because, oh, you can revoke it back to where it was. So you never really moved it. You see what I'm saying? So
right,
revocable trusts are always a horrible idea. And I don't recommend them because they have no tax advantages and are a tax scam. So on that point, I just wanted to go over that. But now back to what we're talking about is a non-grantor trust. No, see, this is ecclesiastical trust. This is where the tax benefits come from because it's a Christian loophole, right? You're like,
okay,
wait a minute, I'm side with the devil. Wait, we is what? What? You know what I mean? So to start a trust, you have to be 18 years or older. So
hmm,
as an adult, you go, oh crap, what? You signed me up with the devil and I didn't even know my parents. What? You know what I mean?
right,
So
right,
find out the truth and you're like, oh my God, I'm an adult. So you're like, that doesn't work out for me. I want the tax advantages. I want to get out of this whole you got we trust. I don't want to be the person. I'll use that thing, but I'll operate another entity, this type of trust, and I don't pay the IRS. I don't have to report to them. Money just goes in and out of the account and I never have to interact with the IRS forever. That's
right,
this type of trust. And so non-grantor trust is like it goes against what a Christian trust would be. You see what I'm saying? Because what happens is you're like, oh wait, I'm knowingly siding with Jesus Christ now. So you are cognizant as an adult. You're granting your soul and all your assets, right? You're the one who else would do it. You're like, no, you know what I mean? I'm going to on purpose sign up with Jesus Christ. Okay.
hmm,
That's the process of granting that I just described, right?
okay,
So that's the whole problem that started this whole mess in the beginning is no, we use a non-grantor trust. Well, like my parents, no, I'm an adult now. I'm deciding with Jesus Christ and get all the tax advantages and all that stuff. You see what I'm saying? And then
gotcha,
you're like, okay, well, who's gonna watch over you? You know what I mean? Now that you signed up and you're an adult, who's going to watch over your actions? Well, you are, your
right,
trustee, right? So that's the process. You're like, I'll take advantage of this Christian thing. I'm Christian anyway. Great. And so let me sign up. and great, I'll pay the IRS. Fantastic. And I'm out of their spiritual jurisdiction and all that stuff. I knowingly do that. Granted in. Okay, and now it's all signed up. I'm gonna head down to the bank, put all the money in there. I'll watch over it to make sure, I don't damn my soul again because I just saved myself. So now I don't want to mess that up. So you got to watch what you do with your life, right? Your actions matter, right? Follow the two commandments, love God and love your neighbor like yourself. So those are your two new laws. Your trustee, you have all power over the money and stuff like that. But you're like, no, it's not mine. I'm just doing the best I can down here. I gave everything to God, so I'm watching over it. So, what the trust matches the Christian loophole. You see what I'm saying? So, they're like non-grantor trusts are great. We use them all the time. It's like,
Hmm.
yeah, that's how you got us into this whole mess. No,
Right.
no, no, that's no good. But they're heavily pushing that out there. I see that on the internet myself. So actually, I'm glad you brought that up. I've certainly seen it a lot,
Yeah.
but I haven't gotten that question. I think I maybe have typed it before the class or something. But it's been a really long time since I've thought about that. But no, that was actually a pretty easy answer due to
Well,
the
I'm sure we'll clip that out and try and feed that to the algorithms so that when they're feeding that other guy's stuff out there, we'll get that answer into the mix so that people
Yeah,
can find
that
us.
would be good, wouldn't it? Because it's people can't explain it. It's like, yeah, you just don't want the risk. So you're not granted them, like, but it's not tied to a logical reason. You
Right.
don't want the risk. It's like, what risk? What are you talking about? What are the principles at play here? No one else is able to describe that. They're just like, hocus pocus, save you from the risk. Ha ha. It doesn't
Right.
make any sense. So anyway, you don't need to name a beneficiary, like you say. You can name your children, and that's fine. But that's not something that you have to do with this trust. So
Right. You would just
that's good.
really need a successor trustee. I should name one of my children a successor trustee rather than beneficiary because once I
Oh,
expire, they would they would get the benefits of the trust, but not be the trustee, right? So it'd be
I
better
would,
for
I
them to
would,
be
I wouldn't recommend that. I would recommend they are a beneficiary until they're age 18, and then
right,
when they're age 18, they start their own trust themselves. And you're like, okay,
right.
which
But everything that I have in my trust,
no, I
I
know,
w-
but
I would
hold on,
want
hold
them to
on.
manage it.
I'm getting there. I'm getting there.
Okay,
Because you want them to understand how a trust works. So you're
sure,
like, oh, okay. If you wanted them then to be beneficiary of your trust, you're like, oh, okay. You would actually make them trustee on your trust. You see what I'm saying?
right,
Because they're 18 or older. But here's the thing, you do get the benefit of eternal life, so you won't be passing away. And so there's nothing you're going to be leaving them. So that's why you don't ever really actually need to come up with a successor trustee or a beneficiary. But but really, see, if you do successor trustee or beneficiary, and you're like, oh, they'll get stuff in the trust, it has to go through a statutory process. You see what I'm saying?
hmm,
Because they don't have a debit card as trustee just on the account or whatever. That's what you really want them to have is to, everything to pass in the trust on to the next generation so they would be actually trustee.
right,
So, because what would happen if someone died as trustee? Okay, well, it's still trustee, so they do everything. You see, uh, so that would do it with no interaction with any state, nothing like that, or even anyone in the bank. It's just like, here's my debit card. Whoop,
right,
that's it. So that's the way is kind of like teach them an AT, get them into it, and then once they get to that, you're like, okay, I want to put you on as trustee. Maybe it's just a piece of paper. Maybe
right.
at some point they get on the bank account and everything like that. But I don't see that as necessary for the reason, the spiritual reasons I said. So, but that's the mechanism. It's all set up to do that. No problem. Not paying the IRS for any inheritance taxes, nothing like that. No, this trust works perfectly for that.
Beautiful. Um, G Brown in the house. Would I still be able to open up a bank account with a trust, even though my person is in the checks system?
I don't know. Probably the answer is no. Probably no, because Uh, it's impossible to open a bank account in the U.S. of A. without giving them the information for your person. You know what I'm saying? You have to go, okay, Patriot Act, hey, we want to know everything about everybody, so we're gonna blow up a couple of billions. Okay, so you have to give them that information. So, a check system is usually actually solvable because it's usually not a huge amount of money. They usually it's a sad state of affairs. The old check system is usually, oh, I overdrafted $200 and closed the account 10 years ago or something like that. If you actually take money out of the bank from a bank account, they can really hurt your check system. Even though I beat it myself, uh, and got them to say that it's a okay. If they sign something, they can take it off. So, uh, if you get in with working with us and so on, I would help you in that process of working on check systems, because what you're going to want to do is interact with check system, find out what the issue is, give them some money, and you can actually work it out. It's usually not a huge amount of money. I get that it can be, and you might not want to do it, but quite often it's a little thing. Most times I've ever seen is, I got this thing, what do I do? And it's, oh, you got to interact with them, pay them some money, they sort it out, and then you're good to go again. So best I could do for that was, like, if you sign up as a student, you get in the classroom, I'm in there. You're like, hey, okay, I want to try and get off check system, and so I would help you, try and get through that process. I haven't been through it myself, but uh, I understand it, and the reasons for it. So, good question.
John Baker in the house. Does the name of the trust matter to the IRS, or does it affect the status?
It doesn't, but uh, what I s- But what I say is, listen, this is what you want to name a trust for ease of use of the trust. That's why you name a trust, okay? So for everyone, at this point, I recommend your first trust is your first and last name trust. That's it. You have ID. You follow me. You just go in there. You look like just anybody. Hey, first and last name trust. You look like, no problem here. Just here. And the bank's like, oh, it matches your ID. They're like, okay, first and last name trust. And if you're ever doing, so this becomes your operations account. So let's say you have a business or whatever out there, and you need a license of any kind. You get it, you put it in the name of your person. You need a payment gateway. You know what I mean? They're checking you out. There's the name of your person. It's not like your URL is going to match anything. Because this URL on some of YouTube's URL, like you know, but my business is this. So what happens is, they're always going to be looking at that person name. You follow? And so it's always going to be approved everywhere. You're like, first and last name trust. You're like, well, here's first and last name ID. So that's why I recommend it, ease of use, and everywhere you go to apply everywhere, get everything done. Just there's so many different things, right, that you need to have in the name of a trust. And so you know what questions being asked to have, like a religious or church name one. uh that's a separate process, mainly for holding like real estate, and I get into that. But as far as you can pretty much do everything you need to do with first and last name trust. What you're signing your soul up, it's that's your name, okay. So keeping it simple like that, works for, even at home. Well, I got a plumbing business or whatever. Yeah, but everybody knows your name, you see. So it works for everything that I've ever seen. uh so that's a good question. It doesn't matter to the IRS, but instead it matters to your ease of getting everything in your life done. That's what I care about, right? They'll give me the EIN to anything, but I'm trying to get you approvals, bank account, payment gateway. Oh, hey, I need to do this. I need to do that. So that's why I recommend that for the first trust. It really, as you go, that's going to be your main operations account. Money going in, money going out, easy to open accounts like that. Okay. Good question, John. Thank you.
Um, He's back with it's first name, last name trust, or does it not matter? Yeah, well, it's back to
It
the
has to
layout.
say
Three,
trust at the end. It's
right.
just yeah, that's one of the rules of Secretary of State about using a trust or getting it approved and using it at the IRS is that's how I found the we trust because it had trust at the end of it. You see what I'm
Mhm.
saying? In public, you could only use. It's not like an LLC. An LLC could be like first name, last name, LLC. You don't have to put the LLC, but with a trust, you have to use the word trust in public. You see what I'm saying? That's the way you know it's a trust. So it's just part of the rules of using a trust and trust naming. So it would have to be first name, last name, trust. Okay, no problem. Happy to answer, John.
Excellent, excellent. Um, I guess we're just about halfway. You can give us an update on how it's going inside the YouTube mentor program, which you do on Mondays.
Uh,
Tell
yeah,
us what you're working on inside there.
it's going good. I was kind of going over the new stuff that I put up this past month. I just did. It was just Monday this week, but it was the last Monday of the month and went live and had a bunch of people in there. But you got to switch over your membership, everyone, over to mentorship. We got rid of all the other levels, so there aren't super many people in there. But I know there are a lot of people that want to be in there. You have to go into YouTube and change your membership. We just canceled out all the other layers and stuff. So, all you're not going to miss anything. All the videos are in this one uh, membership right here, and the membership level is called mentorship. So, or mentorship live at high or something like that. Anyway, it's in there. And I go live on the last Monday of every month. We just did that. So, it's the only way to get me live. Except for here, and I'm not really answering questions per se with exact details and then follow up videos and stuff like that, or like videos I've already done and I'm talking about the work in that YouTube membership is different than what I'm doing on this. It's like, okay, we're gonna do this application, and I'll go, and this put here, and this put there, and this put there. Like it's very exacting, It's like I'm teaching it there. I'm not just like discussing generally answers and stuff like that. I'm doing the actual work and show you how it's done in there. I have a lot of canned videos. That's why I'm only live once a month because have this all this other stuff. Uh, business credit, just a lot of different things. A lot of different topics are discussed in there that are really down to earth. Should I rent? Should I buy? Why? That was a big topic. And generally, you talk about it, and then also exceptions to it. Uh, so people are kind of filled in on how best to use this trust in a day-to-day way. That's what that's for over there. So yeah, I really recommend people, no matter how long you've been doing this, me going live and answering questions specifically of people doing the work and then following up on my other videos is really the most useful thing. Plus, you get all the other videos that are in there. It's ridiculous, especially for the business credit. My goodness, like what I've gone through over there, and showed all the proof of look, here all they're all reporting it all. So everything's going great over there. I'm kind of adding this thing and this little thing as we go, but live went very well on
So,
Monday.
so
So everything
Monday
is
lives are Monday at noon. Is that correct?
Monday at noon, last Monday of the month at noon. That's correct. And
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 Mondays are all about the execution, where Thursdays we're just taking concept questions and
yeah, this
best
is more
practices.
like sales, a general question, should I do it or whatever. But over there, it's like, no, you're doing it, and this is how you do it. Exactly. So
Yeah.
I'm not getting into should the trust work? That's for Thursday live. Of course it works. And I'm just helping everybody get everything done over there, so we're up to speed as much as possible. So yeah, that's
All
what.
right. Dee Dee's here, says, yay, it was easy. My daughter notarized hers and did I skip missing? I think it was in response to this first name, last name trust. It's so easy. My daughter notarized hers and did it with the banker, opened up both bank accounts right away. You go get the trust now. Very good.
Thank you, Dee Dee. Yeah, her daughter did put up a nice testimonial recently. It's like, this is easy. Here's the paperwork. And thank your daughter again for that, Dee Dee.
John says Google said not all trusts need to have trust in the name. Oh,
Yeah, well, I don't think Google's been opening up trusts. You know what I'm saying? So we got 15 years of proof. And my goal is that have success when you do this. But yeah, you could get a GBA, for example, for a trust, but the original name has to be something trust. We go by proof here, so that's what we go by, not AI, which is just a bunch of demons. And either like, no, I trust AI now, you know. So no, we got a long time of proof, and I wouldn't go with Google doesn't start trust, so and they don't have any proof of what they say. So I would go with what works and what's proven to work for we've been here 50 years. So
well, when I that was an issue that came upon me when I registered with the state of Connecticut, with the Secretary of State. I had my Christian trust, and it ended in trust. But then they said, "Oh, someone there kicked it back and said, well, you have to name, is it a statutory trust or this trust or that?" And I consulted with you on that, and then when I sent it back in, um, I got a different person, and they said, "Oh, you don't have to do that. It ends in trust. That's all. That's all that matters." And so some people know, and they're even inside the state and inside the government. They don't realize the mechanics of it. But yeah, it got approved and by the state of Connecticut, and we moved on. But you just keep submitting the paperwork the best how, and finally someone that knows what they're doing will get to it.
yeah, no, and that hiccups like that can happen. That's why it's like sometimes someone will go into a bank and be like, "Hey, they didn't open it up." I was like, call in. You went to a big bank, call in and say, what branch, do you open trust with? Call them. And then you go there and you'll be fine, So it's true. Sometimes they just don't have the expertise in house. I never see a trust or whatever. And
Yeah.
so you want to move on to the next individual. It's like, okay, that's fine. Approved.
Yep. And I've also told the one where I went into a branch and I started my second trust, and I got a new person that came from a different bank, and they said, "Well, you don't have any beneficiaries," and I said, "Okay," and they said, "Well, you can't do that," and I said, "Well, I don't have any beneficiaries on the first trust that I have at this bank. I know you're new, but that's So she called the manager at the other branch, and they said, "Oh, well, this is not how we did it at my last job, but nope, take his trust. We're good." And hung up the phone and started another trust.
Yeah.
So, it can be any number of reasons. People just try and kick it out for reasons they don't know, but they learn just as much as we've learned that this is how it's done.
It's really, we talk about it so much as so many weeks in a row here, and
Yeah,
the years go by, but it's just like, here's the paperwork. Oh, here's my ID. And it's just like, and then you just sit there as a click, 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 and they're like, what's the address? Okay, blah, 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 blah. And it's just like opening any bank account. It really
yeah,
is. It's not, we're talking to death. And sometimes you have to be like, they try and stumble you over there, but it's their own stumbling. And so check for expertise if you have that issue and go to another branch, and that usually solves the problem. Sometimes another bank, but there are very few hiccups with this, really. Once you're like, just mum's the word, and here's the paperwork, and you just sit
hmm
there, and how much you want to put in. Okay, here's a 20, here's 100, put that in there, and you know, you want checks? Yeah. You want a debit card? Yes. All the usual questions. Like, okay, thanks for banking with us. It's like, okay, thank you. Goodbye. Yeah, that's pretty much what most everyone experiences is that kind of interaction. Sometimes there's a hiccup, but you just you answer it, you move on, do it again, whatever. It's pretty rare.
Frank's in the house says, "Is it acceptable to have two trusts at the same bank?"
100%. I do it actually
I
almost
do.
everywhere I bank. I do. Yeah, totally. It's easy to transfer money back and forth. Say, what is your operations account, your first and last name trust? And then what is more like, say, your Christian trust is not really operating out there. So you're just like, okay, if I have any money left over, I'll put it in that one that's not operational. You know, boom. And so it's just an extra layer of risk avoidance. Yeah. Uh, I don't have any personal accounts at any banks, really. I just have, I'm just really pretty much operating True Trust now. So at a few different banks, yeah, that I have two open, 100%. Yes, no problem, Frank.
All right, Alex, clapping it up. Thank you very much. And I'm sure you saw this, but I do want to bring this up again because Dee Dee
Oh,
donated 4.99. Very
thank you.
nice, Dee Dee. Thank you.
I
Thank you.
really appreciate that. You really, I know they really want to hide us so much. It's like I hate to ask, but like donating and clicking the thumbs up thing and pushing us on social media, you're pretty much going to be it doing it. Like there's very few people seeing this. And so if you're going to push it out, you're going to help a lot of people by doing this. So we're up to like 100 testimonials now. I mean, we've been helping people for so many years now. There's really a way, if you care about it anyway, we have the proof this actually works for 100% of people. It's not like somebody comes here. It is this man. I decided not to go into the law school thing because I they make you sign this piece of paper which I had forgotten to sign, and it's 600 people are first year students. Okay,
Hmm.
it's a 4-year program. 600 go in, and this is all something you have to sign. So 600 go in, and then in the fourth year, right after that, you take the bar exam. So you're sort of like, okay, how many people pass? They have that. They have
Hmm.
how many people enter the first, out of the 4 year, and at the end, they have, well, how many pass the bar exam from all that, right? And so it was 10.
Oh,
So that's, 98 point something percent. So less than 2% are coming out as getting a
with
bar
their
card from it.
degree. Yeah.
And that's the difference to our school. 100% of people that sign up, it's not like going along, you're like, oh, I hope I can do the impossible dream. It's like, no, here is no, you just go to a bank and you open an account and no more IRS are out of your life and all this stuff works here. It's not like let me shoot the moon a little, try the impossible here. It's like, no, it's none of that. Is this stuff is tried and true, super easy, works for everyone. You got an ID, go to the bank. That's all it takes, really. We walk you through everything. You go in there with the paperwork together. You're like, hey, I need a trust account. That's it.
Yeah.
So
And then, well, I might as well just remind everybody the difference between public and private trust. The public trust is done by your favorite accountant or lawyer, and a private trust is just created by yourself. It doesn't mean it's a secret, meaning private. It means that it's done by yourself
that's true.
and not a
Yeah.
professional,
No,
as they
thank
say.
you. And that's when they say public, I mean you have a public license, like a
Right.
CPA, like a bar card. You pass a test with the government, so i.e. you're a public servant, yes. And so they don't teach you how to do this type of trust. So if you have that license, you can't do this anyway. So this has to be a private trust. No one else can grant you can have your parents do it if you're under 18, but yeah, after that, it's too late. No more non-grantor trust. You got to do it yourself. Let me sign up with the guy, get the loophole, done. So yeah, thank you for that. So
Here you go, Jamie in the house. I highly recommend John's Trust. Great, works in Canada as well. I have 2 trusts at the same bank, 4 trust accounts in total, a property into the trust, and 3 credit cards in trust names.
she's just
There
burning
you
it up.
go.
It's like you can do all that stuff. I'm like, yeah. And then she's like, well, I'm doing all that stuff. And she did too. The credit limits on her credit cards and stuff. It's like she's just doing super great up there. She really opened it up. Oh, thank you,
Yes,
Judy. No,
everybody's loving that.
she's a real estate agent too. It's just
Yeah.
funny, because a real estate agent is just trying to help people out. You know what I mean? Hey, oh, you know what your problem is? I know somebody that can help you. That's a great real estate agent. I know somebody that can solve your problem. This is who it is. And so, Tim and Jamie are two great real estate agents. She's in Canada. You need one in Canada, get in touch with Jamie. You need one down here in the States, Tim Judge here. So,
Jamie, they're all loving it.
yeah, yeah, no, she really opened up Canada and showed her proof and everything. It's got a lot of business people, family, friends, and stuff have come through, and then just regular Canadian people because we were advertising in Canada now. It's like, hey, did you know we don't like the government down here? You don't like them up there? We don't, 51st state or who cares? We're all slaves of the bankers up there, down here. It's the same thing. How can we not pay the government? Okay. It's working in both places. That's all we care about. We're not the rest of it's like, how can we not pay the government and keep it in the family? That's all we care about. So, now, Jamie, great work up there, and everyone else too. Really, we've had a lot of Canadian students come in lately. It's been really, really excellent because they're really kind of like a get it done crew. I really like them. It's just matter of fact questions, and off they go. It's been very good having so many Canadians around me. Thank you for that, Jamie.
And Dee Dee saying it's just their bloodlines. They continue on their administration's successor deeds.
Right. Yeah, how they get the property around
Yeah.
here. It's true. The foundations, right? They found it. Hey, we found it. It's like, yeah, you did, didn't you? And we did it. We don't get to find anything. We have to pay you. Great. And that's why I'm into this work about not paying the government because they don't pay for stuff and we have to. So let's get our expenses down and hey, you got any money over there? Give me what money you have. So that's the hack. You operate a trust and then your person qualifies for all the free government stuff. That's like, oh, nothing, control everything. Great. Give me all your free stuff. I'll spend that money. And then everything's in a trust, safely tucked away. I don't have anything. Haha. You're just like them. The super wealthy have done this. So it's just, following their little, loophole pathway they created for themselves and didn't tell us. I was like, I caught you. So I'm an accountant, but I'm an auditor, that type of accountant, not like a tax expert. I'm like, how are you doing this? You don't have any
Right.
paperwork. Like, you're auditor, you're like, where's the paperwork? Okay, well, there's a whole lot of missing paperwork. So how you do it without paperwork? Oh, okay. You get the IA, get 501c3 status, so off you go. So clever and so easy too. Now we're lazy like that. Hey, don't tell us anything. It's the IRS. We'll see it in your life. You see it in our life. Great. See you never. That's the way I like to interact with the IRS. So it's great. A totally life shift for your whole lifetime. It's like it's indescribable, really. It's the most wonderful thing I've ever done. That's why I teach people like this is so great. How can I not sit around and tell everyone about this? It's so wonderful.
Is it an accident that the word lawyer just sounds like the word liar if it's said with an accent?
True. They just, they just kind of take your money and don't really solve your problems. They're like, I worked out a deal where you're going to give up a whole bunch of money or time or something like that to them. And yeah, well, that's not what I was hoping for. I don't, lawyers not very helpful. I don't think. But yeah, I agree with you over there. But they all approve of this trust, so okay, fine, fine. You stay over there, we'll stay over here. Great. Okay, okay.
Well, approval's a strong word. I think they accept it. They'd rather not approve it.
Yeah, but they approve the accounts and stuff. That's all we care
Yes.
about.
Yes.
So, hey, you give me the tax exemption, you open up the bank account, all the transactions go through, no problem with the money, no problem with the real estate. There's no problem with any of it. That's all we care about. That's the only kind of approval I need is no hassles, no problems. Yeah, this is a real loophole. Yeah, we
Well,
didn't tell you.
they try and get they're just trying to keep the money in the system. We're still using their banks and they're what is it 9 times lending it over what's deposited and stuff like that. It's crazy. So they just want to keep the money in the system so that they can keep leveraging it up, the banks and the lawyers, and play their games. But
Yeah, they
we
need
have to we have to
more
control it.
cars. I have a collection of 500 cars. I need more cars.
Need a
Yeah,
need a
exactly.
bigger boat.
I need a bigger but you have the biggest yacht. Yeah, but I'm getting a bigger one. It's like, what are you doing, people?
Um, that's what they referred to in my region. Liars. Yeah,
Yeah.
very good. All right. Hypothecated debt interest.
Yeah, they are very interested in telling us that we owe debt. It's like,
Mm.
wait, don't you print money? How can you print money and owe debt? It's like, is anyone buying
Oh,
this stuff anymore?
there's another Canadian.
There's your homie.
Friendly face. Scott, how we doing tonight?
All right, Scott. Thanks for the support, man. Good to see you.
We have time for another question or two before we wrap it up, and we're live every Thursday night at 7 p.m. Bring your friends. We're almost up to 24 people, so if anybody's got a final question, now's your chance. And let's see, Dee Dee, of course, steps up with. They collected all the certificates, they steal the authority, and they make money on real estate with their parents' LLCs.
Yeah.
They've got the system down, that's for sure.
I had something good come up in the classroom this week, which was Scott's doing good. That's great to hear, Scott.
Good.
I had someone, I haven't even asked their question yet because I saw it right before the show, but it was like, oh my God, my person has this garnishment,
Mhm.
And it was in the classroom. It's like, and she's like, oh, I forgot about this account that I had. That was her person name, and it only had like $20 in it. And so she's like, thank God I had the trust. So that was great that came up again because she didn't even know what was happening. Usually it's like, oh, they're coming for my money. I need that trust open tomorrow, today, yesterday. Uh, but no, it's great when they're foiled again. Ha ha ha! Used to get me, and now you get nothing. So it was great to see that from time to time they come. We got the paperwork, we got a judgment, we're gonna get your money. It's like, oh, you got to trust. Oh well, never mind. It's like, yeah, see you later, goodbye, because they can only get a garnishment on for the entity the person is like that. You're like, oh, nothing, control everything. Sorry, I don't have anything, no bank account, nothing in my name. Very clever trick where you made a person with my name, but I got wise to it. Now everything's in the trust. Ha ha. All right, go away, goodbye. And that's the last we talked to them about. It's wonderful. So it was great to see that about garnishment again. That's always working, and it's such a hassle if it comes up. You're trying to hide your last pennies from it. It's like, phew, okay, you get nothing. Okay, I'm gonna go to sleep tonight. Yeah, you get a zero over there. So yeah, no, that's good. That's always working. And I had another kind of question come up, but actually for my neighbor here. He's like, uh, hey man, you're the cow, yeah. He was like, man, I just want like $4,000 or $5,000 to go to Puerto Rico with my wife. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, here's how you do it. He's like, uh his Humvee got blown up, so he's ex-military. He's on his, pension and Social Security and stuff like that. He has enough, but I want to go to Puerto Rico. I'm like, okay, here's how you do it. I was like, you just build up your credit cards over there. And he's like, what? No, I don't want to. I already got some money on credit cards. I'm like, nah, nah. The goal is to get as much as possible. What are you talking about? Get like 20 of them. I teach you how to do it, business credit, everything like that. And then you could get a couple hundred grand, not just 4 or 5 thousand. And then he's like, "Oh, I have good credit." I'm like, "Well, you're not using it for anything." He's like, "No." I bought this mobile home and I just pay every month. He's like, "I don't use my credit for anything." I was like, "He has his car. He's just sitting there." I'm like, "Well, go get your credit all built up. Go buy some, U.S. minted gold buffaloes, have them sent to your house, and then just don't pay them. And 7 years later, your credit will be wiped clean. Whoop, oh, go do it again. So it's like, that's a couple hundred grand. That's not just 3 to 5 thousand. He's like, man, he's like, that's what are you talking about? Like, well, you asked. And my neighbor's sitting there drinking Jim Beam the whole time. He's just like freaked out about it. He's like, totally not for him. I was like, you asked a question over that. This is all legal. Have you not watched our president? Trump does this. You know what I mean? Like, he bankrupts this company, puts assets over into trust. So, like, yeah, this is your commander in chief. This is what he does. So I say, do it like your commander in chief does. It's legal. I've done it several times to so many other people. I got proof. He's just like, man, I don't like.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you asked. Okay. You don't want to talk anymore. Okay, good. Okay. Yeah, I don't want to talk to you while you're just drinking Jim Beam either. So we're good. Okay, all right. The retired crew of Florida sometimes it's like I'm like, why you want to go to Puerto Rico? That's how you do it, no problem. So anyway, for the people that can handle the truth, they're like, hey, I'm operating a trust, so you don't get anything. There's lots of wealth to be taken from them legally. Look how our president does it. So anyway, that came up. I thought I'd throw that out there for people. Once you get this trust, the whole thing becomes a lot more fun. You start to take their money. They can't take anybody. You sleep at night. You're like, oh, you wake up the next day. Like, oh, can I do this? Can I take money this way? It's like, let me ask Jack. It's like, oh yeah, you can. So no, steady as she goes every way. Learn the hacks and put them to use, and your money goes into your trust bank account. Yes, right, and nobody goes out to them. Yes, that's how we do it here with all this proof. Okay, so anyway, thanks for my little current event things that came up this week. Thanks for listening to that, Tim.
Yeah.
And next Thursday, right, 7 p.m. Tim's got to get on to his next gig.
We're coming close to April 15th, tax day. So who's not paying taxes this year? There
Right,
you go. Hope
everybody
everybody out
here.
there,
What? Come on, people.
if you're still paying taxes, you better get in and buy yourself the bundle.
Even if you're like, wait, I got a big tax bill this year, you don't got to pay it. Just open the trust. Your person don't have nothing. Even if they come looking for money, there's nothing to get. You could still get out of this year's taxes. Oh yeah, get it before April 15th. Get it open. It only takes a couple days. They're out of your life for good.
There you go. Have at it. Alex likes that. And how do you donate credit card into a trust to get the money?
Go buy gold coins on the internet. AppMex, I like them. They sell super many gold coins. You're just like, oh, into the cart with them gold buffaloes and credit card. Gee, it gets to your front door. All do them before they report it, stuff like that. Get as much as you can. Get, like I say, get 20, 30 credit cards, and then have all the gold sent to your house, and then, oh, thanks for the gold. Go down to a coin dealer, like, hey, can I get some cash, like spot gold? This is 99.9% pure. They're like, yes. Like, nice. That's how you do it. It's great fun too. You become like a leprechaun. You're like, shake, yeah.
Or just save that gold. It keeps going up. So
It's
nothing wrong with that either.
Where it is. Crazy where it's
new highs. Very good. Well, have a great week, everybody. Thanks for showing up, and thank you very much for your wisdom, Jack. And we'll see everybody next Thursday at 7 p.m.
Good night.